probably wonder why you're in an AI talk and there's a gorilla on the screen. Well, I don't know whether or not you believe in the evolution of humans and we come from apes, or you just believe in the revolution of humankind. But if we did all start at apes, we all had leverage. The leverage of apes was their instinct. They were able to instinctively know when there was danger around. And their leverage was the instinct, and they could fight. As we evolved into humankind as we know it today. The instinct of humankind was our mind. We leveraged our mind in order to move from being prey and to being part of being attacked, into using tools, into creating fire, into creating wheels. And we used that as our leverage. We used our mind as leverage. As we evolved from humankind, we moved into our revolutions. We moved into the agricultural revolution, where we moved from chasing food to growing food. We leveraged the land. We leveraged everything around us so we could feed our people and we didn't have to go and hunt for food. That was the agricultural revolution. From the agricultural revolution as humans, we moved into the industrial revolution, where one man could do the work of hundreds of men. We leveraged machines to help us become human. It allowed us to produce more. It allowed us to create more. It allowed us to use machines to create everything that we know and we use today. It created a workforce. It created an economy. From the Industrial Revolution, we moved into the information age. This is the age that we lived in. We were able to leverage information to grow humanity. We were able to have one person speak to millions over the air. Technology helped us get there. But now, as we move into the AI revolution, what does that mean for humanity? What leverage do we now have? Maybe we're the leverage. Does AI leverage humans now? Throughout every revolution before this, they've all made humans more powerful. This is probably the first revolution in human history that's threatening to make us optional. Now, that was a pretty dramatic intro. I hope I got your attention. If you guys don't know, my name's Brendan. I build AI-first companies that are run by humans. I've been in retail for over 15 years. I've worked for some of the biggest brands in Australia, and I work with some of the smallest brands in Australia. I've founded 3 of my own brands, and I have 57,000 followers on YouTube where we teach AI. We teach Shopify, we teach e-commerce, and we help the small brands, we help the big brands. And I'm lucky enough to have taught over 1,500 founders inside our e-commerce academy. We teach them AI, we teach them everything that they need to go by. But today's talk is not going to be like the talks I've done previously at Retail Fest. This is my 3rd talk on AI at Retail Fest. The first one I talked about ChatGPT and how cool it was. Talked about all the prompts you can use. The second talk I did, we talked about agents and automations and flows and all the cool stuff, really tactical information. But I'm not going to talk about that today. You guys are going to find that everywhere, right? There's going to be lots of people talking about the strategies, the tactics, the tools, the apps, and everything you can use. And you can talk amongst yourselves. There's great vendors out there that are going to help you. Or you could subscribe to my YouTube channel and I can teach you there. What I'm going to talk to you about today is how we want to use AI as humans. How are we going to strategically use AI to make sure it makes our lives better, not makes our lives worse? And I want you to think throughout today's presentation. Over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you how AI can help you grow your business while still keeping you human, and even potentially making you more human. And human is going to be the undertone of the whole presentation. And the reason this is important is, over the last 15 years when I've worked in retail, the gap between large retailers and small retailers is closing. And I was just chatting to someone before. It's great to see the diverse types of businesses in the room. We've got people that, are the one-year-old mum and dad brands that are 2 to 3 people. And then we've got the large retailers like your Woolworths and your Officeworks, all the big guys. But what AI has done is it's actually leveling that playing field. And the gap between large and small is absolutely closing. I remember when I worked at Wesfarmers, we had, large teams. We had more, resources that no other brand had. We had people, we had expertise, we had skills, we had teams, we had agencies. Small brands just couldn't keep up. There was no way for them to do it. They were agile, yes, sure, but they were fragile. But now that's changed. That gap has completely changed, and AI has become the great equalizer. If we step back in time a little bit to an old time called 2024, it was when ChatGPT became really popular. It was when we opened up this browser and we typed in a prompt and it gave us back human-like content. And content just became equalized. We no longer needed a copywriting team. We no longer needed agencies. We could just put a prompt in and it wrote a blog post. I remember doing it for the first time and being like, oh my God, copywriters are cooked. Like, this is so good. There's no way that people are going to be able to understand that this content was written by an AI, right? Everyone else had that sort of feeling, didn't you? But now we can identify AI content. We can look at it. We can read it and go, oh, that was written by AI. Yeah, I'm not going to read that. We see that straight away. You know, there's the M dash. There's the here's the truth. There's the matter of fact. We can read AI content so clearly. But 3 years ago, we thought it was over. Then let's go back 12 months. AI normalized skills. We can get expertise and we can plug them in, and we can learn any skill that a big business has. We can learn the SEO and the ad skills and the frameworks, and we have skills now that we never had access to before unless we were in the big brands. The small brands are getting closer. Skills are now equalized. We don't need to go out and hire expertise. We can just learn it ourselves quickly and fast in no point in waiting for anything. And then last, we've now moved into the action agent society, where we're using agents and actions, and AI can actually do things for us. So originally it could write things for us, it could teach us, but now it can actually do things for us. So AI has completely equalized roles, it's completely equalized responsibilities, and it's completely equalized, expertise. It means that the big brands and the small brands are on a level playing field. So what does that mean? Does that mean that humans are going to go away? Does that mean that AI is now replacing us and there's no need for us? I want you to think this through a little bit. AI is not a human replacement, right? People think that AI is going to replace everybody. It's not. I want you to think about it a little bit differently. And I've been thinking about this a while because we've gone along the lines of, and I did this big opening spiel of we're now going to become human robots, but actually AI is not a replacement at all. AI is just infrastructure. It's just a layer that we put in our business that gives us a capability that everybody else has. It's an infrastructure. It's no different to everyone having access to the same tools. Everyone has access to a drill, a hammer, a nail. Everyone has access to electricity. But the layer and how we use the layer is what actually makes our business different. We can use electricity to turn the light on, but we can also use it to put rockets into space. Electricity is just a layer. We think about machinery, it helps us build things, but it also requires our time and our effort to sit by the machines and be there all day, every day to create and produce things. And then the internet is the same thing. It's a layer that our businesses use to produce and create. And it requires us as humans to be there and creating and building the machines and running the internet and using the tools and using electricity. It's made us become part of this infrastructure, made us really tied closely into it. But AI might change that. If we think over all the revolutions that we've had, agricultural, industrial, information, it's required humans to be there and continually handling those pieces of infrastructure, whereas AI is probably the first to change that. So no longer are we the producer. The producer now belongs to AI. The producer work is what AI is going to do for us. It's the creator. It does everything that we can do. And what that's going to do for us as humans is that's going to mean that the human work now belongs to us. Because if we think back over the revolutions that we've had, human work, being human, has been taken away from us. We have to sit at a computer all day. We have to sit by a machine. We have to be on the tools. We have to drive the cars. We've lost the way of being human. We've lost the community. We've lost the human touch. Everything is automated. Everything is a process. Everything is something that something else does for you, but we have to be there. So I want to introduce you to the way we think about AI in our businesses. We have a very small team. We run 3 brands, and we only have 3 full-time staff. And we can get everything done because we use AI to help us. So every time we want to implement a new AI system into our business or an AI tool or some sort of process, we run it through a framework. And the framework that we use is called the human framework. And I'm going to take you through this framework today, and it's going to be used as a way for you to sense check the things that you're doing in your business, the AI, the decisions that you make, and we're going to be able to sense check it through this framework so that you know whether or not you're using AI the human way. So let's get into the H. So when I think about AI, the first thing I think about is, great, I can spin this thing up, I press go, and it does everything for me, right? Does everyone agree that's what they think? AI, just press a button and it does it for us, right? And it's great. That's the utopian view of AI. But realistically, if we do that, things can go wrong. I've had people that have completely deleted every product on their website because they connected Shopify and CLIs and all those things wrong and it's broken it. I've had people that have sent out emails that are completely wrong and misleading that may not comply with ACCC. So what we want to make sure of is, for H, we want to be hands-on. We don't want to let go of the steering wheel. We don't want to let it run off with itself. We don't want the AI to crash the car. We don't want the AI to send the email. We don't want the AI to delete our website. We want to make sure we're always hands-on. Now, I'm not saying that we need to sit there and actually press all the buttons and do all the things, but we need to be across it. We need to be knowing what's happening. And if we think about this, being hands-on is going to get AI to do what it's good at, which is it's going to do 80% of the grunt work. Because if you think about what our world looked like in 2024 and earlier, we did the grunt work. We went through the spreadsheets. We did all the pivot tables. We had to be there and actually doing these things. But now, if we're hands-on with our AI, we can have AI do 80% of the grunt work. Well, we can finish it off 20% to make it human. So we can add the human touch. I'll give you an example of what we're doing in our coffee brand, Dosed. So we've created all the AI systems that can send email marketing messages from start to finish. We use Claude to create the emails. It drafts them. They're beautiful. It then sends it via an MCP into our Notion calendar, and then that goes through to Klaviyo. It sends it all off. It's beautiful. It's amazing. But what it's missing is the human touch. So what we now do is we make sure that every one of those touch points, we'll just review it. We'll make sure that it's working. We'll humanize it, and we'll be able to do the things that we weren't doing before. If you think back to the prior world, and I remember this at one of the apparel brands I worked in, I think to send an email, it took us like 6 hours of actual work to send the email, come up with the idea, do the creative, write the copy, code the email, paste the email in, and do all those things. And sometimes it lost the human side of it because it was just about transactional and getting the thing out the door. What AI lets us do now is add the human touch that we now have time for. So think about how you can be using your AI systems and being hands-on at all times. The second letter of human is the letter U. And if we think back to when I talked about AI being the great equalizer, that starts to sound like that when we are using AI, that AI all sounds the same. And so what we want to do with this type of the framework is we want to make sure we've got our uniqueness. I don't know why it looks like that. I think PowerPoint doesn't convert very well. We all know that AI sounds like everyone, and that's by design. If we think about AI, it's an aggregate of all the information in the world, and then they make it simple, and they make it sound like everyone. It's like I said before, when you look at an AI post, you can read it now, and everyone starts to sound the same. So uniqueness is the most important flair when it comes to creating AI content. We want to make sure that AI must sound like you. And this isn't just about uploading a brand tone of voice or telling it that you're a cheeky brand or things like that. It's actually getting deeper than that. It's actually teaching it what you know about your brand. So we want to upload things like your brand story, your history, your reason. We want to upload product reviews. We want to upload everything, customer feedback. We want to put it all in there so it knows just as much as you, and it can talk the same way that you talk. I'll give you an example that we do also in our coffee business, where we've built an AI tool where it's a customer service tool, and it basically pulls in all messages, it triages those messages, and it categorizes into what those responses should be. Then it drafts the responses and sends them out. So we've automated that. That's done the 80% of the work. But we have fed that through with all of our information, so it talks like us, it sounds like us. But we're continually iterating. So the human element to this is we go in every week and we review all the transcripts, we review what it's sent, what it hasn't sent. But the important part is we review what people say to us and the language that they use. Then we train the AI based on the language that our customers are using. And so now that adds that uniqueness to it. So if you're training your AI or putting things in, don't just be lazy and put up your tone of voice or make it a cheeky brand. Tell it about you. Tell it who you are. Tell it how you want it to speak. Get detailed. Treat it like if you're onboarding a human, how would you tell them what your brand style is? Don't be lazy on this one. Now, the next one is M. This is probably the most important letter in this whole framework. When we think about AI, we think about the technical side of it. We think about the things it can do for us, the processes, and all the techie stuff. And I'm a techie guy. I love that stuff. But realistically, we've got to think about why are we doing it? Why do we have to do all this thing? Is it just because we should? Or is it giving us something? So what I always talk about now is when I create some sort of AI system, I look for moments. And I make sure that this AI helps me create a moment. And what I mean by moment is if we're freeing up our time for AI, that creates time for us to have moments with our brand. It creates time for us to be human. It creates time for us to make memorable moments. AI can handle the volume, it can handle the mundane, it can handle all the repetitive work that you used to do. But what are we doing with the leftover time? Are we actually doing anything with it? Are we just going to play golf? Are we doing whatever it is? This is the opportunity that we use AI to make our moments more memorable. It's not about giving us time back just to, go and slack off and watch Netflix. It's about utilizing that time for the things that only humans can do, and that's create memories. That's create moments. I'll give you a little example I saw the other day, actually. So, in the large supermarkets where we've got these self-service checkouts, you either love them, you hate them. I don't think there's anyone in the middle. But I was standing in line, and there was a guy in front of me, and he had a big basket of all his stuff in there. And he went through to the checkout, and he was scanning his goods, and the customer service rep was just standing there, just, looking around, not doing much. But these machines have obviously given that person back their time. They can stand there. They don't need to necessarily help their customers. So, the vegetables were scanning. He was paying the right amount for his tomatoes. And so anyway, he put it all on the side there. And he didn't buy a bag or anything. He just scanned the checkout, and he picked all his goods up, and he started to walk out. And it was really struggling. But what the customer service person did is they spotted that as a human. And they grabbed a bag, they gave them their free 15-cent bag, and they created a moment. They just gave the bag and they let them walk off. Now, I know that sounds small and trivial, but that just changed that person's entire experience from, oh my God, I can't believe I have to self-serve and no one's doing any work, to, oh, someone's actually watching me as a human and understanding that I'm struggling. And so that's what AI does. It allows us to not only create moments, but spot moments of humanity. And so when we think about implementing your AI, what is it freeing up that you can actually create these moments? Now, if we move on to the next letter, hopefully you guys can spell, it's the letter A. A stands for analyze, and I break this up into two ways. One is that we can analyze what the AI is doing for us. So is the AI doing everything that we want it to do? Is it responding to customers properly? Is it, going through the process that we want it to go through? We should always be looking at every system we put in. Is it doing the thing that we want? Because sometimes things go wrong, often things go wrong, it gets it wrong, and it makes things up. And it's very confident when it's wrong. It's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. Don't eat that mushroom, okay? Don't eat the mushroom, the AI tells you, okay? But the second part of analyze is how good it is at analyzing data. So we can upload all our spreadsheets, all our analytics, all our invoices, whatever we want, and it can go through and give you answers. But it's like anything. It's only going to give you generic answers unless you ask it the right question. So AI can read and interpret and understand data, but your job as human is to decide what it means and how to use it. So if you're analyzing the way AI works and how it's doing things, then you need to make sure it's going in the right direction. If you're analyzing the data, you need to make sure it's the right data. I'll give you an example of what we've done in our boxing brand. So we basically had a conversion rate issue. Who else has a conversion rate issue here? I think everyone does. We had a conversion rate issue. So what we did is we thought, oh great, I'm going to use Claude to help me with this. So we uploaded all our analytics, we uploaded all our Shopify data, we did everything, and we said, help me fix my conversion rate. And so it looked at all the data and said, great, Brendan, I'll analyze all your data and I'll tell you exactly what you need to do. So it did that, and it came back, and it gave me pretty okay responses. It just told me what I probably sort of already knew. But it wasn't really anything concrete. It was very generic. So what we said is, what if we put a human layer on this? What if we thought about the way a human is buying on our store? So when humans go to a store, they visit your page, they go to your product page, they add to cart, they reach checkout, they go, and they actually buy the product. So what we did is we said, could you please analyze the entire data set? We want you to look at all our pages, and we want you to find outliers. We want you to find products that have high add to carts, high checkouts, high conversions, and we also want you to find the opposite, low checkouts, low add to carts, low conversions, etc. And we want you to find the outliers, and then we want you to do a comparison between the two to find 3 of the biggest opportunities that we have in our business right now. And that was a long question. We didn't just say fix our conversion rate. We went right down only things that a human could think about. We asked that question. It gave us 3 really specific things that we could do on really specific pages and really specific changes. We implemented it, conversion rate went up. So analyzing is really, really key to making sure that you are moving in the right direction. And that leads me into the last piece of the puzzle, and this is N. N stands for navigate. Now, AI is great, and it can do lots of things, but as a self-proclaimed AI expert, people often ask me lots of questions. This one question, not lots of questions, ask me one question every time. I get it, I reckon, weekly. I might have even got it this morning, so I apologize if I'm about to offend you. They say, oh my God, I need to be using AI in my business. What should I do? Right? That is a terrible answer. It's like a terrible question. It's like saying, oh my God, I need to use electricity in my business. What should I do? Like, we don't know. we need to be deliberate and we need to navigate what we're trying to do with AI. We need to know what the outcome that we want it to be, and whatever system we're putting in place, is it getting us to the goal that we want it to get to? If we're putting a tool and an app in place, it's not just for the sake of putting it in. We need to be deliberate around the AI. We can easily be caught up in sort of just AI tool, use. I'm sure all of you have found an AI tool that someone said, oh, you've got to use this, go and play with it. And 5 hours later, you haven't actually created anything, you've just played around in the tool. I absolutely do that every day, and it's bad. So don't do that. But it's my job, right? That's what I tell myself. The thing about AI is AI can make you move fast. And I don't mean just fast. I mean like ridiculously lightning speed fast, which is the benefit of it. It's so cool. But it can also make you move really slow. Because if you're stuck trying to build a tool or do a thing, you're actually slowing yourself down. You're not speeding yourself up. And you have this sunken cost of like, well, if I spend 10 hours now, it's going to save me 30 minutes in the future, which is not always the case. So I want you to think about this. You must decide where you're going and choose the right tool for it. I'll give you an example where I got caught up in this. Does everyone know what OpenClaw is? Yes, right, okay. You might know what I'm about to say. So OpenClaw was like this thing where you could get a system and install it in your local office, and you install all these things, and it can be like your human assistant. And it could do all these amazing things for you. Now that sounds great. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I need that in my life, right? The problem is, it's not that easy to set up. It's really hard, actually. If you want to set it up, it's going to take you hours and hours, and it might break, and it might leak, and it might do all these sort of things. And then when you have done it all, Anthropic said, oh, but we're going to charge you more if you use it. So it was like a waste of time. I just wasted days and hours and money buying Mac Minis and doing all this stuff and following the tribe, and it wasted my time. It was a side quest that I didn't need. When I think about navigation, I've got to think about what's my quest that I'm on, and I've got to try and steer away from side quests. So what I realized that I needed in this piece, it wasn't actually all this thing. All I really needed was I needed something to check my messages in the morning and tell me my to-do list and what my calendar looked like. That was what my little AI assistant did. And I could do that in Claude in about 15 minutes. So thinking about where you're going and what you need to do keeps you on the quest. So I want you to steer clear of side quests. So if we wrap this around, we've got the human framework. I've done that so you can take a photo of it. But basically, the human framework is really simple. Every time that you are thinking about installing an AI tool, an AI system, an AI process, I want you to think it through this way. How can I put the human across this? How can I make sure I'm hands-on, that I touch every point and it doesn't run off the leash and I can keep a harness on it? How do I make sure that if I do this, that I'm not just going to sound the same as everyone else and I've got some uniqueness in play? Is this AI going to free up my time so I can create moments and memories and be human again? Is it going to analyze my data in a way that can do better than me? Can I ask it the right questions? And the last part is making sure that this AI is going to navigate you in the direction that you need to be navigating into. And I have a challenge for all of you guys. Again, it shouldn't be crossed out. It should be underneath. It's going to be really hard because this conference is going to be a lot about AI. I think you're going to hear that word 100 times. And I'm sorry for the vendors in the room. I want you to stop looking for the next AI tool, right? Don't look for it because you don't have time. It's a side quest. Don't look for the next AI tool. I want you to choose one thing that you're currently using AI for. You're all using it of some capacity. But every time we add a new tool, we have to learn a new capability, we have to learn a new skill, we go on a side quest, we waste our time, and we stop being human. We're just continually feeding the AI. And then think of that thing that you're using it for right now, and then run the human framework across it. Make sure that it has the human layer across that one there. So if you think about it, I started this talk with an ape. I then went to a caveman, and then I went to a farmer in some land, and I went to a factory worker, and then I went to a guy in the office, and then I went to a humanoid robot. And I did that intentionally because as humans we evolve, and we go through revolutions. And every revolution required humans to create more input and be more present in that revolution. And it actually took us away from who we really were. It took us away from being human. It took us away from connecting with people, and we put this technology in just to do it, right? Just to do the technology. But what AI has actually done, and what I'm seeing now, is AI actually allows us to be human again. It allows us to come together. It allows us to create moments. AI shouldn't take over who you are. It should make you better. It should make you more human because it can do the things that was taking all our time up now. So what I want you to think about with AI now and human-led growth is AI isn't going to grow your business. AI is just an infrastructure. The thing that's going to grow your business, the single one thing that's going to make you different from every other brand out there, whether they're big or the small, is you. Because you're human and you're different and you're unique. So I want you to think about that every time you implement AI into your business. How can the human get better by putting this in here? Thank you very much.